Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean. This is In The Mixer as we continue our Hashtag United series in Football Manager 2019, episode 45. I cannot believe how close we are getting to the end of the series, into the release of FM20, and of course, another massive episode today. We are at the end of the season. We did jump ahead a little bit further than we initially anticipated we would, or that we spoke about at the end of the last game, just because we locked in our playoff position like 3 games ago. So really, the last couple of games were just about figuring out who was going to finish in which spots and get home playoff finals and all that sort of stuff. So rather than bringing you guys dead rubbers and dead fixtures, I thought let's jump ahead. We'll do our playoff games in this episode. Next episode, we can do our start to season 8 and our transfer moves, any new tactics, any new signings, all that sort of stuff, because they're always kind of like longer episodes. So the playoffs is like, who knows? This could be 1 episode very quickly. Could be 2 games, I should say. This episode could be 3 games if we go all the way through. But first, let's go and review our season. We actually finished in 7th spot. It was very tight all the way through. We could have finished, I think, as high as 4th at particular points throughout the course of the season. Chester ran away with it. Like, no one could keep pace with them. They won it by 12 points ahead of Aldershot in 2nd place. Newport County finished 3rd. Salford, who are going to be our opponents in our playoff game today, in 4th. Telford in 5th, Boreham Wood in 6th, and we finished in 7th. But in reality, and we'll go through why in a second, most of those teams are kind of interchangeable as to how it went. As far as our stat lines go, we had the most goals scored of the competition, which I think is fantastic, given the way that we play and given the young group we have, which means I think even if we don't get through in the playoffs today, we're in really good position to actually go on and challenge if we can make our defensive improvements, because 64 goals conceded is only good enough for the 11th best team in the competition, and finishing with 16 losses, just hovering it over here, there's quite a few there that if we had been better defensively, potentially we could have won the game. We have the 4th highest yellow cards, which makes a lot of sense. We've always had that pretty high. Red cards 12th highest with 3, and our 684 average attendance, despite being an increase on previous seasons, is still the worst in the division. So still some stuff off the field that we need to improve. The big one, however, is our finances. Of course, we've had some great results beating a few teams, most notably Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. That extra prize money is the only reason that we've taken a step forward and had a $537,000 profit this year, which of course has done a tremendous amount to wipe out some of our club debts, but we do still need to continue to grow, continue to get better, continue to make good off the field deals so that we aren't in debt and continuing to grow and continuing to develop and whatever else. So we're going to quickly run through our schedule here, and then we're going to run through some squad updates. As you can see, since that last episode, that 6-3 defeat against Exeter, we actually went on a really good run of form. Actually, pretty much since the start of January, we've in pretty decent form. In the league, we only lost 4 games in the entire second half of the season, which is really that's championship winning form. If we carry that over 12 months, it will probably be enough for us to win the league next season. But, fingers, toes crossed, whatever else. We've got a lot of work to do between now and then. There's a couple of draws in there as well. A couple have come from behinds. A couple of leads thrown away. So a mixed bag, but a good amount of wins as well to eventually turn around our form. Not forgetting that at various points of the season, we were as low in the league as 19th and only expected to really battle bravely against relegation and still go down. So to finish 7th, still a great result, but really it's more now about building and developing our players for next season. Speaking of, we have had a pretty rough run of injuries, to be completely honest. Stevie CB earning his paycheck at the moment. Keith Mear, unfortunately, a couple of episodes after the Exeter game, did his ACL. Or MCL, I don't know which one it is, just cruciate ligaments. He was initially out 12 to 14 months. He's got 7 to 11 months to go, so he's been out a little while. Dick Thrash as well has been out for about 3 months. He's unlikely to make an appearance again this season, though he's back in light training. George Urie's been in and out of the team. He's already signed a contract with Ayr United back in Scotland for next season, so we're not going to be renewing his contract. Because of those changes, we have brought in Mark Grant, who is an ex-Southampton striker. Initially, we brought him in to play as that deep-lying forward role, and then Dick Thrash got injured, so we're playing him up front. He's got a good first touch, good passing, good technique, a lot of good technical attributes here. He is preferred as an advanced forward, so that's where we've been playing him. Only on £100 a week, a 2-year deal. I'm not going to lie, they've struggled for form and fitness and whatever else. But the big one, the interesting one, is we had our first high-quality regen player, my bouncing baby boy Ben Barton, which is phenomenal alliteration. He came through as the pick of the crop. No one else was worth signing, but he's a 2-star current ability player, a 5-star potential player. We've played him a couple of times this season. He's made about 8 appearances at a 6.76 rating, which isn't bad for a 15-year-old. And we'll continue to develop him and hopefully get him some game time next season. His passing needs work, his heading needs work, but 13 tackling is pretty great. 12 aggression, 14 bravery, 12 decision making, 11 positioning. Physicals are really good for a 15-year-old player, so we're going to give him a full off-season working on that ball-playing defending role, and potentially we'll look to try and play him all throughout next season, because if we do go up to League 2, we actually do have a requirement each match day to have homegrown players in our squad, so fantastic timing for him to actually show up, and we'll continue his development as he grows older, but he will sit on the bench today, and we'll bring him on if need be. As far as our shortlist is concerned, we have worked it down a little bit further based on current ability and potential ability. We've now scouted all of these players that are coming off contract at some of the larger clubs around the place to the full extent. We're only really looking at players where we need in certain positions, not just looking like last year for players in every position. Mainly because I want to try and bring through some of the guys that we've already got in the squad that have had 12 months of development, 2 years of development in the case of like Keith Meir and Valeriano Rodriguez and whoever else, and we also have a lot of those guys on 2-year contracts already, so it makes the most sense to continue their growth. And then potentially once we make that leap up to, fingers crossed, League 2 football, if not the end of this season, next season, we can start adding some of these high potential players. Like you see there's guys here that are like at 4.5 star potential already, including Brendan Roach, who we've had on trial a bunch of times, but classic Roach behaviour, he just does not want to sign. Every time we turn the lights on for a contract negotiation, he scurries under the... But more than enough talking for me, it's a playoff game, which of course means... Oh, that feels good. Now it feels like playoff football again. We haven't actually worn a suit in forever. I was just looking the other day. We haven't had a Christmas episode in seasons. So of course, time to suit up. Except, as you guys know, in my videos, I'm never wearing pants. Trousers for any of the UK listeners. I gave up my life as a cam girl a long time ago. So, one of the positives that we know going into this game against Salford is that we have a really good tactic for when we are the underdog. Our cautious 4-4-2 mentality works really well when other teams are expecting to have a lot of possession against us. However, interestingly, Salford are in a really rough patch of form. They were the closest team to Chester, and then in like the last 6 or 7 games, they've been really struggling. So you see their recent form is woeful. Ours is inconsistent, which makes sense. We've had a lot of ins and outs, and I've been resting people. We're still going to go with that cautious mentality in this match because we are away from home. It is a big fixture. We are a young team, and because it's done so well for us this season, it may not be the right response. At least we will have until half-time to figure out how we're doing. And if we need to, we can change to either our positive or attacking mentalities from there. We'll go through the lineup in a minute once we get into the actual game. Okay, so we've, of course, in our classic 4-4-2 hashtag shape and formation, Dennis in goal, who's been fantastic this season. Downing and Norman as our central defensive partnership. Fitzpatrick and Mooring as the fullbacks, or wingbacks, I should say. O'Neill and Rodriguez on the wings. Hyam and Nunn as the midfield too. Nunn will also wear the captain's armband today. And Chandler and Grant, not our preferred central striking partnership, but it's all we have fit at the moment, so they're going to do their best to try and catch those goals on the counter. They're also playing a flat 4-4-2. Still a fair few decent-looking real players in there. Akenabiri up top is a decent player. Hales Doherty on the right is fantastic. Horsfield's been around the league forever and ever and ever. Ex-Bournemouth, ex-West Ham, and a couple of regen players in there as well that I'm sure are high quality. They still have a massive wage budget, so very much the same philosophies with the realised Salford team now of bringing in high-value, high-wage recruits. But obviously their struggles just going up once into League 2 and then getting relegated straight back down. They haven't retained like the likes of Adam Rooney and all those sort of players, even though like Adam Rooney's probably retired now because I think he's 30 in real life now, so he'd be 37 in game. And away we go, our first playoff game of Season 7. Fingers crossed, and toes crossed, and legs, and arms, and eyes, that we can get through and get some more games in this episode. Otherwise, it's kind of a whimpering season, which would be frustrating. I do think we deserve a little bit more. I do think we deserve to get into the playoff final. But as you guys know from the last time we were in the playoff final in the Vanarama South, I lost that one handily after pretty much being fantastic all season. And at least we know, and I'm not getting ahead of myself, I'm just focusing on the moment and focusing on the match. That's been another key takeaway for this season. In this series, just focus on the match and the here and now, don't worry about the rest. But even if we don't, I'm not going to be devastated. We've got a really good platform to push on next season and hopefully challenge for the title and an automatic promotion place. We have won every division at some point on our way up the leagues, so winning playoff football isn't super critical. We have, I think, just about made it outside the first 10 minutes without conceding a goal, which I'm taking as a massive, massive win. First highlight of the game, though, god damn it, if they score here, it's a deep ball across, Brooks gets his header up. It's like Sports Interactive are listening in on my conversation. Don't worry about Russian hackers or anything like that. Don't worry about China, North Korea. Sports Interactive sit here and they listen to my broadcast. They wait till that camera's recording. They zoom in on my microphone and they wait for me to say dumb shit. That's pretty awfully fucking defended there. I think it's Fitzpatrick on the far side. I don't know why Downing wasn't picking up the central striker, but We are 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes. Not great. So because there aren't any other fixtures there's no other league position we need to look at, I'll put the focus of attacks one down here, which is always a good one to check in your analysis. So we're doing all right on our left-hand side in terms of getting forward, but really we need a bit more production out of the right, and they are just going straight through the middle. So we've got to keep an eye on some of the match ratings in that area if that's where they're concentrating their attacks. Right, Fitzpatrick with a free kick. Can he get it on target? He has his third goal of the season. All three of them will have come from free kicks, and there is no better time to be putting the ball in the back of the net. I think Tyra in the goal for Salford actually got something to it, but it looked like it was just curling away from him. Gets it over the wall well. It's coming back down, and yeah, I would have been disappointed if Dennis had have conceded that at the other end, but even if you had to push it out, we had guys that were chasing it in, which is great to see. Maybe I'll go praise, and we'll see if that gets some sort of response. They've only had one shot and one on target. We've had 4-3 and 65% possession, so we aren't top statistically, but still, of course, just a 1-1 draw. Nobody really appeared to care about that shout from the sideline, so maybe we just leave praise until later in the game. 35 minutes gone, we're going to use our demand more shout just to focus everybody up before half time. They've also had some team talk from the sideline that's focused their team. Again, there we go. Now we've got a few focused on our end as well, which is good. In the other game, AFC Telford have taken a 1-0 lead against Boreham Wood. We beat both Boreham Wood and AFC Telford during the regular season, which is great. If we get through, we will be playing Aldershot, who we'll go through that result shortly, but we beat them 2-1 with a very similar tactic such as this away from home the last time we played. So again, not getting ahead of myself. We've got to get past Salford first. We've got to find a winner. But I'm actually not horribly unhappy with how things are going as we get towards half-time. Okay, and we get to half-time with the scores at 1-1. We've had 7 shots, 4 on target and 65% of the ball, which is great. They've had 2 shots, 1 on target and 35%, and 3 guys on yellow cards. We haven't picked any up yet. There are a couple of players that are kind of just struggling a little bit to impose themselves on a game. Lowest ratings are 6.6s, which is good. Let's just say passionately, it's time for everyone to dig in and give everything you've got left tonight. We deserve to win this match, so let's go out and do it. A couple of players seem motivated. Let's talk to our attackers as well, who really have struggled since they've come into the team because they're not usually first-team players. And they said they weren't badly, but there's still room for improvement. Hopefully that will be enough to give them a bit of a kick up the backside and spark a response from them. But as always, we're going to give it 15 minutes and we'll kind of have a look at everyone's form and fitness and see what changes we need to introduce. You can see from the focus of attacks, we are very much a wide team. Rodriguez comes forward now. He gets tackled by Horsfield, who's one of the men that was on a yellow card. And it looks like he's about to pick up his second, so they're down to 10 men. They've immediately made a sub and take off Hales Doherty, who's a good player, and James Horsfield, who I think was their captain in the lead-up. I've already forgotten, but they are down to 10. They're going to a 4-3-2. We're going to make 2 subs. One of them's kind of risky. We're going to bring on Kiyembe for Rodriguez, who struggled to make an impact so far in the game on the left wing. And then I'm also going to bring, even though he's got a knock at the moment, George Jury on as the box-to-box midfielder. We know that he and Hyam are an excellent midfield pairing, even though he's currently at 1.5 star current ability, and he's coming back from an injury. And it's potentially his last appearance because he's already signed a non-contract agreement with Ayr United. I want to try and give him a send-off, and with 30 minutes remaining, I think it's a good time to actually make some subs and give them enough time to impact the game. Both have responded positively to the team talk, and then as we so often do, we're also going to use our Get Creative shout. Alright, everyone's responded inspired by that feedback, so hopefully we can fashion a chance. They've had a couple more shots, but it looks like they're from distance. They're still struggling to control the ball, but we haven't seen much of highlights except for the 2 goals that we've seen in the game so far. Around the grounds, Boreham Wood have equalised in the 44th minute through Conlon, so they are 1-1 in their fixture as well, or in the other playoff as well, I should say. Both their right back and their centre back for Salford have now picked up yellow cards, so they're going to have to ride the game out with a couple of the defenders on yellows. Right, 15 minutes remaining, we're going to bring Chadwick on and the right for O'Neill, who is just struggling to make an input on the game on a 6.6 rating. It's probably a little bit early with about 18 minutes to go, but I'd rather get them out there and give them opportunity than trying to get guys warmed up or impacting the game in the last 10 minutes. We'll wait until the last 10 and then we might use our last shout, which I think will be demand more. Good just to see a highlight in any respect, to be honest. AFC Telford have taken a lead in their playoff game. Berkeley Agupong has put them ahead in the 68th minute. Getting towards the 80th minute, so we're going to use our demand more shout. Most of the teams responded as focused, or 5 of the 11. Whatever feedback they've gotten, they are currently disinterested. And they do still have 1 more sub up their sleeve and a few guys that are struggling for both fitness and match rating. But whatever they've done to kind of quell the game and kill it off from a highlights perspective is working pretty well since they went down to 10. Alright, 3 minutes to be added on. Write it out with me in the comment section below. Is there going to be any late drama here, or are we going to head through to extra time? They've made their final sub. Okenabiri. I nailed it when we did the pre-match lineups, but I fucked it up that time. Has come off and Byrne has come on. They've got a highlight. Keelan O'Connell to take a deep free kick only as far as Brooks. Back to O'Connell again. Just stop the cross from getting in, boys. It's a deep one across. It's headed away, and it's a strike from the top of the box and just wide. My laptop's freaking out. He can't handle the pressure. Dropping frames left, right, and centre. All right, we're surely at the end of 30 minutes now. The 3 minutes now. It's giving me text at the bottom, so we're going to go into extra time. So regulation ends. They had 10 shots in the end. They really turned that around in the second half. 2 on target, 38% possession. We had 14 shots, 7 on target, 62% of the ball. And frustrating that we couldn't fashion another chance despite playing against 10 men. Maybe when they went down to 10, I should have come off cautious mentality, but I'm kind of scared to. Let's just say, passionately, I know we're underdogs, but go out there and give the fans a performance cheerful, or I'm happy with that performance. Let's say I'm happy, because it'll boost everybody. And you know what? You got to risk it to get the biscuit. Let's switch to our positive mentality. We're playing against 10 men. Like, we should be able to get forward a little bit more. Let's push the wing backs on a little bit. We should have superior conditioning. We should have superior... Oh, well, we don't have anyone on a yellow card, which hasn't happened too many games this season. So it's risky in extra time to increase the intensity of your tactic, but I'd rather go out swinging than go out on penalties or something stupid like that. Watch as they score now and I crack the shits and don't want to play anymore, but still, like, I'm sticking by it, sticking with my convictions. We're going to go out swinging. One of their subs has picked up a yellow card now, so they've got 2 guys carrying yellows, plus the 3 guys that they've already had go off. It's going to be another highlight here. It's a ball forward. Chandler puts a 2-footer oh, for fuck's sake, Jimmy. Alright, so for no reason, Jimmy Chandler has just decided to go through the back of some guy, and we're going to finish the game 10v10. Alright, so we're going to move Grant to be a central striking option. We're going to switch back to cautious, and I'm going to switch Yuri to the box-to-box and put Hyam back as the deep line playmaker defend, just to shore things up, and because I think Hyam from a deeper area has better passing range. Alright, let's also use our demand more shout. And most players are focused after that, particularly the defence, which is where we really need it. Alright, I dare say this is going to be the half time of the extra time. So 15 minutes for us to get a thing. This has been one of the most boring games of the season, so I apologise to everybody that's had to watch it. Hopefully, 10v10, tired legs will start creating some chances here in the last 15 minutes of our extra time. Otherwise, we go to the dreaded penalty shootout. And I'm going to be honest, we don't have any decent penalty takers, so hopefully they don't either. Alright, last 10 minutes, we're going to kind of tell everyone to get creative. They've brought it back statistically speaking since we moved to positive. 13 shots, 4 on target, and 40% possession now. But that also might have to do with the fact that we're also down to 10 men. A couple of players have been inspired by that shout. Please, guys, just find a way to poke the ball home. I don't want to have to go through the lottery of penalties. Alright, a minute to be added on now. We're into that. Are we going to see any more on-pitch highlights before the referee blows his whistle? And goddamn, we're going to penalties. Okay, our best 3 penalty takers, one of which got sent off, Mark Grant and George Yuri, who's carrying a knock. So we're just going to put in the auto pick. Let's see what happens. I hope this isn't going to show us a replay for every penalty. We'll keep watching it in 2D, and then I hope we'll just wait and see how the first one goes if we make a transition to 3D. Grant's going to take the first penalty on his right foot. Please put it away. And he does. Sends the keeper the wrong direction, and we get off to the best possible start. Looks like it's just the turns one instead of the ABBA penalties. O'Connell to take one for Salford. Deep ball. I thought Dennis was in the right spot, but it was close to him, but couldn't keep it out. Yuri now on potentially his farewell appearance for the club, carrying a knock. It's a good effort. The keeper kind of guessed the right way, but thankfully didn't get across to it in time before it crossed the line. Taylor now. We're getting him off at a quick clip. Taylor to take. Oh, and Dennis again gets near to it. He has saved a couple of penalties this year in episodes that you guys have seen, so we know he can do it. Hyam now, the lefty. Where's he going to put it? Oh, straight down the middle. Thankfully, the keeper got out of the road of it. Very brave. Didn't see it in 3D, but let's just assume it's a Panenka. Brooks now for Salford. Deep one across, and he sends the keeper the wrong way. First time Dennis hasn't gone correctly with the flight of the ball. Flawless penalties so far, 3-3 to both sides, which is making me even more than nervous. Fitzpatrick, the goal scorer, on his left peg, again sends the keeper the right way, high and top into the corner. high and top into the corner. I'm nervous. I don't know if you guys can tell. Banks is going to take. Oh, Dennis again goes the right way, but just can't get himself across to it. It's 4-4. And Kiyembe will be the one to have a chance to try and get us a perfect 5. On his left peg, what can he do? And thankfully, he rockets that one in and the keeper gets out of the way out of it, surely for fear of his own life more than anything else. And the pressure is on Byrne, the striker sub that came on in the second half. Come on, Taylor Dennis, do it for me, mate. I don't want the episode to end here. I don't want the season to end here. Let's go on to the next game and beat the shit out of Aldershot away from home. Byrne steps up on his left peg. Oh, and he sends the keeper the wrong way. So we're going deep into our roster here. And I don't know if you saw some of those penalty takers. Some of them were 2 and 3. Chadwick now to take. And the keeper's saved it. Oh, shit. All right, so it's going to be entirely on Dennis to either come up with some Jersey Dudek jelly leg madness to... It's the right back Bradbury that's going to take it for Salford. Surely now if their right back is taking penalties, they're back down towards their worst rated penalty takers. Oh, come on. He's going to take it on his right. Oh, and he's put it over. Holy drama. Drama in penalty shootouts. It always happens. Okay, so we're back on here. Waring is going to take one. Right-footed player. Just get it on target. He does thankfully send the keeper the wrong way. All right, let's see where they're at. If Salford have a deep roster of penalty takers, Jenkins is going to be the next one up. It's tense. Like, they're making me watch everyone walk forward and back. Most of the takers are taking their kicks before the player gets back. Jenkins to take. And Dennis with the win. Oh, Taylor Dennis has been phenomenal this season. What a hero. And he's just taken us through. I've lost the ability to speak words. Good. So in the end, a 6-5 penalty shootout win against Salford. 16 shots, 7 on target, 59% of the ball. Both sides finished with 10 men. So Jimmy Chandler will be out for the next game, I'm pretty sure, which sucks because we don't have any other forwards that are fit or available, unless we can try and get Dick Thrash fit in the next day or two. Very happy with the result and the way you played. Oh, all right, let's see when the next game's going to be. Oh, damn, it's not summer yet, but feels like it in this room. All right, so we've gone through on penalties. AFC Telford have gone through against Boreham Wood. The team in 7th has knocked off the team that was in 2nd for so much of the season and ended up finishing in 3rd. Surprise penalty thriller, it were. God, terrible. Chadwick's blushes are saved. An 8.3 match rating for Kieran Fitzpatrick with his fantastic goal from the free kick. All right, the results are a memorable moment for the club. Delighted that we got through. Shane Brooks has scored against us a lot apparently. Good for him. Fitzpatrick at the end of the match was fantastic. Jimmy Chandler is an idiot and will likely not play again this season. And then I'm just going to ignore that one because he's been a dick. Momentum's great in football. Hopefully we can kick that on. We have Aldershot in the semi-finals in 2 days' time, which isn't much of a turnaround. We're going to issue Jimmy Chandler a warning. We've got player fitness concerns for Joe Norman and Christopher Waring, but I think what we're going to do is rest everybody that's fit. And let's also tell Fitzpatrick that he did great. Defensive work was top-notch from him. Chandler accepts his warning. We're going to stay on our cautious mentality because we are still playing away from home in the next game. And Aldershot, of course, one of the better teams in the competition. So Chandler's going to be suspended. How quickly can we get Dick Thrash back? He's still out for another 10 days. We do have, and he's not very good, a player in our under-23s. Screw it. It's not the time for pride. Let's put these guys up into the senior side again. Only because we haven't been able to offload them yet. Don't worry about those 4. They're not good enough for this level. Alright, we'll move Mark Grant to the deep line forward and we're going to put on, for what must be like his second appearance for the club, Jamal Chambers, who's had a bunch of opportunities but just never been able to find the back of the net. So we are definitely not in the best of shape. And let's take Yuri off the bench because of that knock and put Bobby Sargent McGee on there. Hopefully those two can perform well and put themselves in the shop window a bit. We're also going to rest our players for 2 days. I just care more about the fitness than the actual training sessions. And when I look at it, we haven't got any sessions scheduled anyway, so let's get the bonus for our rest days. All right, Magic Vetting, let's jump out to the Aldershot game now. Right, just like that, we're a couple of days ahead. They're playing one of those cheap formations from FM18 with 3 up top. I think we've spoken about them before when we've had episodes. Galbraith is a great player. Vale up top, I think, has the highest average rating for the competition this season. Looks like an ex-Blackburn junior. If you want to try and pick him up in your saves, we are going with only one change to the lineup. Chambers will come in. I think it's his debut for the club, to be honest, up front. And Grant will move to the deep line forward role. And then the only other change is that Uri will drop out, carrying that pulled groin, and Bobby Sargent McGee will come in on the bench just to give us a little bit of midfield depth. But again, we're going with the same cautious 4-4-2 mentality that got us here. Passionately, let's say we're the underdogs here, and that suits stand to the ground. Let's go out and cause an upset. A few people have responded well. I need more than that though, so let's go. I think there's a lot more to come from you. And let's see if we can just get everybody happy or motivated going into kickoff. So I think we've recorded both times we've played Aldershot, or just the once? No, just the once, and they beat us 3-0, I'm pretty sure. It was early on in the season, but we were in a decent patch of form at the time, and then they belted the absolute shit out of us. And then the last time we played them, again, at their ground, again, using the cautious mentality that served us so well this season, we managed to get a 2-1 win. I think there was an own goal winner, though. All right, throw in here. It's nearly one back high up the pitch, but Roberts now has the ball coming forward on the left-hand side. O'Neill's won it back and found Chambers in the box. Can he find the finish on his debut? And the angle was never really there for him. I think it's Desbois or Desbois, however you want to pronounce it, how literal you want to be. We are in Australia after all. Short corner here to be taken O'Neill. He's got room forward if he can get the ball in. Instead, he clatters it straight into the first man and it goes out for a corner again. Try and get the ball in earlier, please, Sean. That would be great. Just put it on the head of Joe Norman at front post. That would be fantastic. You put it in that area, they've recovered and are bursting forward. They've got a 3v2 if we don't get goal side quickly. Don't everyone rush the ball. It's a great recovery run and tackle from Nunn to put the ball out. So it looks like they're committing a man to the top of the box and leaving 2 up forward on all of our corners. So we might have to keep an eye on that. So far, 100% of the game, 9 minutes in, has taken place on the right wing. Or 100% of the attacks. Yeah, I realised it once I said it. I correct myself. Don't worry about it. Delete the comment. Delete it. Another short corner to be taken here. Please make it a good delivery, Sean. Towards Norman. Backstick runner. Hits Grant. It's come back out and hit the deck. And Coburn hacks it away. Did we just hit... I think we hit the upright. And then it hacked away. But 2 yards out, you'd at least expect him to get it on target. But at least we're having highlights. They're albeit they are from set-piece situations, but at least we're involved at the right end of the pitch. O'Neill's picked up a yellow card, which we'll have to keep an eye on. We do have Chadwick on the bench, thankfully. Fitzpatrick's now picked up a yellow card, which we're also going to have to keep an eye on. Okay. I kind of wasn't 100% paying attention, and Sean O'Neill has gotten himself sent off. So for the second game in a row, and this time in the 27th minute, we are finishing the game with 10 men. Fuck. Okay. Chambers, you had a really great 27 minutes for the club, but that's going to be it, because Grant is better suited to the advanced forward role. Why do we do these things to ourselves? Like, we just put ourselves under such tremendous pressure with stupid decisions. I want to sell Sean O'Neill immediately. I wanted to sell Darren Downing after he got us pretty much single-handedly knocked out of the FA Cup. Alright, so Chadwick's going to come on the right. We're going to stick to our cautious mentality. We're not going to mix that up, but we are going to just go to 1 up top and hopefully look to release the ball a little bit earlier in transition. And I don't know, just pray that somebody can get in behind somewhere, or we can try and snag something at a set piece if we get an opportunity. Right, Chadwick at least looks motivated if you wanted to take a silver lining view of it. And we're also at about 30 minutes, so let's use our demand more shout. They've immediately taken control of the possession stats and the shots on target. The shots statistic. 5 shots, 1 on target, 63% of the ball 30 minutes in. It wasn't like 5 minutes ago when we had men on the pitch that we were actually in control of both. Do you think it's too early in the game to say that we're playing for penalties? Right, here we go. Waring with the ball. It's come to Chadwick, back to Nunn. Waring is in time and space on the right-hand side. Please get a good ball. And he finds backstick runners, and Rodriguez has put it into the side netting. So we've had 2 of the best chances of the game, despite now being down to 10 men, and we have wasted them both. And will that come back to haunt us as this game continues? They've got their first corner here, Vale to take. It's towards Clark. It's come back out, and they've found a way to poke it home. Simon Clark with his 5th goal of the season. Such a disappointment to concede from a set piece after being alright to date, and just before half-time as well. It's a good header. Dennis does well to poke it back out. But Clark, the ball was in the back of the net before he finished his swinging motion, so fuck knows how he's actually connected with that. Okay, we make it into half-time. They've had 9 shots, 4 on target, 54% of the ball. We've had 6-1 and 46, but the big one, of course, is that Sean O'Neill has been sent off to send us down to 10 men. Alright, so we're down a goal at half time. We're down to 10 men. There's really only one thing for it. Alright, and prop humour aside, aggressive, I expect to see a much better showing from you in the second half. Everyone's responded either fired up or motivated, which is great to see. And again, as we always do, we'll give it 15 more minutes and we'll have a look at making some subs based on player ratings. Alright, they've got a highlight here, Kalantari to take a ball in. It's back out to Vale at the top of the box. Hyam has recovered the ball well. We do have a 3v2 if we work this correctly. There's a man over on the far side in Chadwick. Hyam's just held the ball too long. It's fallen to Fitzpatrick though anyway. Crossfield switch is still there if we can find it. None, out to Fitzpatrick. Come on boys, work something here. None with the ball now. Fitzpatrick again. Plays Rodriguez into the corner. Can he get the cross in? It's deep towards the near post, and Grant has pulled one back. His 4th goal of the season since signing a couple of weeks ago, and we've somehow brought it back to... It's the power... Where's the hairdryer? Where did I put it? The power of the hairdryer has bailed us out again. It's a great little feed down the line here. I thought we were going to cough the ball up in midfield possession, and he had bugger all angle to aim at, but he managed to just get that glancing header in before the goalkeeper, and we have managed to get ourselves back onto level pegging against pretty much all odds. Alright, so last 2 subs that we're going to be able to make. I'm not going to be diplomatic about it. I'm going to go with my favourites. Ben Barton's going to come on for Darren Downing, who keeps continuing to hurt me. And Chancel Kiyembe will come on for Rodriguez. Rodriguez hasn't done that much wrong. He actually put in that brilliant assist for the equaliser. But I think fresh legs are really going to help us on the wings. And if we've got Chadwick and Kiyembe both coming on, as we get towards the 90th minute, their creativity and the extra run in their legs from 2 fresh subs is going to help us a tremendous amount. So even though Hyam's not playing that well, Norman's not playing that well, we're going to leave them out there and just trust, as 2 of our key and most experienced players, that they are going to do the job for us. And given, I don't want to get too creative, so I'm just going to say demand more, and hopefully it just gives everyone a bit of a nudge and a bit more focus as we get towards the hour mark. So a couple have responded as focused. There's a couple that are out there that are motivated and self-assured. That's more just like a resume description from Waring, still don't know how to pronounce his name at the end of a full season. Looking at the other game, it looks as though Newport County have taken the lead in the 50th minute against AFC Telford, but Lockyer has picked up an injury. I nearly thought he picked up a red card then. Alright, they've got a highlight here. Matsuzaka plays it forward to Elabius, who plays a really good crossfield switch. Chadwick's going to cut it out. Played forward to Grant now. We've got a man on the left in Kiyembe, the fresh sub. He gets a deep ball across towards Grant, who might do okay to bring it down. Instead it falls to Moore. To Matsuzaka, to Moore again, forward to Clark. We're dropping off a deep line here, kind of inviting trouble a little bit. But you know what, they can have it in that area. That's a nothing area. Chadwick commits and then they play the ball out to Roberts, who makes a good run at a backstick post. And Coburn has headed in at far post, his 16th goal of the season. It was a good goal to be fair, but really Chadwick just committing too far up the pitch. He gets beaten in behind, and then a fullback's got to commit, and it just creates that hole of space. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't see that, but it's a very good ball from Roberts, and it's a good header back across the keeper from Coburn. So we're making it, again, as difficult as humanly possible for ourselves. Give it a minute or 2 to see how the team responds, and then we'll use our last demand more shout. Alright, so we've used our last demand more. Most players have players, but I've lost brain gone dead since hairdryer. Me speak basic English. Most are focused. Good to see. A couple of motivated players there. It's really in their hands now. I'm kind of limited in what else I can do here. We're not going to switch from the cautious mentality. We're just going to leave it because that's how we pulled the goal back the first time. Screw it. I can't help myself. Let's just go attacking. Let's go for it. Have we got time for another shout? We've got one more get creative shout up our sleeves. Is there anything we can do in extra time to try and pull a goal back? Everyone's inspired by the feedback. Just one more highlight, boys. Here we go. We've got a corner. Chadwick's going to take. Short one to Kiyembe. Can he get a good ball in? It's headed away, but only as far as Elabiosu. Out to Dobson now. We need to recover the ball and get it back in the box. Robson, Clark, they are bursting forward. None with an excellent tackle. He's released Grant, who's 1v1. There's a man running in midfield in Hyam, and he gets his strike away, but it's just over the box. You know what sucks the most about managing this team? They make me believe every time. Come on. All right, boys. 2 more minutes remaining in extra time. Is there anything else that we can do? I've rolled all the dice that I possibly could have up my sleeve. Just one more highlight. Just give me something. Give me something to walk through. Don't just let it be a 2 minute and 40 second. They've got a free kick here. Dobson to take. It's headed to Clark. It bounces around. Chadwick's recovered. He's launched it into nothing for no reason. Goes all the way forward to Johnson. There's 20 seconds remaining. All the way back to Dead Boy. They're wasting time now. Keeper's just going to hold the ball. Played forward to Johnson. Get up there, lads. Got to find the press. Long ball forward to Waring. He can't control his header. Clark now. Recovered by Hyam, and the referee calls full time. It's frustrating. I can't be upset. We're expected to finish the season on the bottom of the division. I know that just takes reputation into account, but to finish 7th, make the playoffs, and then go down, like Sean O'Neill's getting fucking sold. Mark that in your diaries. That's definitely happening. But a 2-1 defeat, I can't be too upset with it. I'm just going to say, nobody expected us to win, but you gave it everything. And let's focus on the positive. We've got a good young team. We've got a team that's had 12 months in this division, 12 months in our structures. Most of them are still under 20. We do have a good platform to go out and perform well next season. So as we did last season, we're probably going to have a look at some of these guys that have got low current ability that haven't really made good on their potential and look to maybe push them on to other sides. Hopefully, along the way, getting some revenue for their transfers as well. There's a good slew of people that are coming off contract. We do have our shortlist, but there's more that are, above and beyond that I've taken them out for whatever reason. Might be because their star rating is too high and I don't think we'll get them. It might be because we have an okay player in that position already, and really I've just focused on people that were 3-star ability and above. So we could drop it down and look at 2.5-star players based on the scouts' recommendations. But all in all, not a terrible season. We might actually jump forward a day or two and see who wins the individual awards. I think even though he's been out for the last 3 months, Keith Meir will still win the majority of them. Okay, so we've got a bit to go through here. The overall #United Best 11. Kieran Fitzpatrick is inducted, as is Joe Norman for the first time. Hyam makes the midfield. Keith Meir, of course, leading the line of the active players. Charlie Muller moves to the left wing, interestingly, and O'Neill comes in on the right. So there's a few new players that have been added to it. And Dick Thrash makes the bench as well, as there's Darren Downing. Maybe I'm a bit too hard on Darren Downing because of that one game. Maybe he does deserve more opportunities. Best 11, they're looking back at Andy Cade-Watts, Jack Harrison, both of which are working at the club. Charlie Morley's still in the reserves. Ryan Adams still with the club. Harry Honesty's playing at Kingstonian. Marcus Stamp and Tash Enrisman are with Hendon. Tyler Ford and Scott Pollock are at Concord Rangers. And Farai Singano at Weymouth. So they're all playing just the division below us. Lee Hurst, sadly, has retired, which is fine. It's to be expected. It's going to happen. It's a shame we couldn't bring him in on a non-playing role, but he was very young, so I don't think he ever really had staff attributes. Team of the season, it's pretty much the lineup that we're going with. The main interesting one is that Yuri and Hyam are the two midfielders, and Chadwick on the right wing instead of Sean O'Neill, which is very interesting. Everything else is pretty much as you would expect. Fans player of the season, Keith Meir, 55% of the vote, and he got the young player of the season. Kieran Fitzpatrick, the free agent from Leicester. Our left back, who scored that fantastic free kick in this episode, gets the signing of the season. Squad dynamics haven't changed much. Keith Meir is our captain, he's our highly influential player, and Joe Norman moves into influential player status. Both will play again next season. I think now would be a good time to let the players know what you want to achieve for next season. It's been a long season. I hope you all have a good break. You're going to need to come back fully refreshed because I'm aiming to make the playoffs next time around. We made them this season, so we should be able to do it again. And they're all happy that we share the same level of ambition. That's exactly the sort of reaction I'm after. Fantastic. Everyone's morale is going to be good as they head off, and hopefully when they get back in pre-season, our morale is still sitting very high. And a season confidence review. I am not quite untouchable, which is interesting. But, what can you do? Club finances are on the up, which is good. The tactics, I don't know why they'd be unhappy about. Probably because we've been playing on a cautious mentality for a little while, but who knows? And we'll go with the 5-week pre-season. Look, I know this one's empty. This has probably been the longest episode I think I've ever recorded. It's going to be, who knows, 6 or 7 hours long? I'm kidding. It'll be 20 minutes, at most 30. You guys will know. You're the ones watching it. But even though the season hasn't ended on a high note and hasn't ended with the playoff final, I think we can take heart from a lot of the results. That match against Crystal Palace, beating them over 2 legs in the FA Cup, that's really going to secure probably the financial future of the club for another year. And while it has been up and down in terms of our league form, I think we've definitely shown enough to see that we can actually go on and become a force at this level and hopefully make that jump next season to League 2 football and full-time football and everything that comes with that, including full-time contracts, being able to develop our high potential players, continuing our rise up the league, and we're going to take it as far as humanly possible before the release of Football Manager 20. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed Season 7, please chuck a like on the video. Feel free to subscribe if you want to be kept up to date on future videos, or you can follow _FM on Twitter. But more than anything, guys, I just appreciate you all watching. That's the bit that means the most to me. So as always, I've been Sean, this has been In The Mixer, and don't ever forget to hashtag it.